But we have to remember that our lives come in seasons, and we'll have seasons of plenitude and we'll have seasons of famine. It's just going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to take things for the way that they are and realize that that's just how life works.
Yeah.
If everything stayed the same forever, life would be pretty boring, and no learning would take place. There would be no growth. There'd be no understanding. And so
Hey guys, welcome to the Ecom Life podcast. I'm John.
And I'm Brian.
Yeah, he forgot his name.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're glad to have you guys here. It's a week. Is it a week before Thanksgiving? I guess. Yeah, today's Wednesday.
Yep.
Week before Thanksgiving. So when this comes out, it will be Thanksgiving. So
We're fairly close.
this is actually my favorite time of year. Is Thanksgiving your favorite holiday?
I love Thanksgiving.
Really? What are you doing for
Christmas and
Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving
anyway?
are my favorite holidays. Both of them together are my favorites. Easter's pretty good too, though. This Thanksgiving, I'm going to be down in Salt Lake for a week.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow,
hanging
good
out
for
with
you.
family. So it'll be fun.
That is fun.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
I'm excited to see all of them.
Thanks for asking. I'm also going to be in Salt Lake this week.
What are you
Yeah.
doing for Thanksgiving, John?
I'm going to a Jazz game. Do you know who the Utah Jazz are?
Yeah.
We joke because Brian doesn't know anything about sports. So I'm excited. We're going to have a suite. We're going to be in a suite.
Yeah, you were telling me that you're doing that.
Yeah.
That's super awesome.
It pays to have like rich relatives, I guess.
Yeah. Get more rich
You
relatives,
should have,
guys.
that's today's episode. That's how you get rich.
Today's episode is I'm grateful for rich relatives.
Yeah, exactly. No, but this is an exciting time of year. I like the change of weather too. I know there's lots of you, or I don't know, maybe some of you at least, that live in warm weather climates.
Hey, I even wore my ugly sweater today.
Nice. You dressed up.
Episode. Yeah.
I was going to wear my turkey hat. Jared was asking me to do it, but I didn't want to do it, and I forgot. I made myself forget. So anyway, today what we thought we'd talk about is gratitude, obviously, right? Because it's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And just share some of the stories of gratitude that have touched our lives. I think it's important to reflect back on those moments. I mean, we'll get into it, but gratitude, for me at least, isn't just an event where something happens and then you're grateful. I mean, that is gratitude when you feel that. But for me, what I try to do, and this is really not cliche for me, I really, really try to live this way, is to be in a state of gratitude, to be that state of mind where whatever happens in my life, I'm grateful for. Good or bad, right? Good or bad in quotes.
It's a mindset and a lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So it's I mean, I think we should be grateful for everything good. I hate saying good or bad, because for me, honestly, life just is. And the things that happen to us, we don't know, because we don't have the full picture, right? We don't know if they're going to be good or bad. We might think they're bad, but there might be a stepping stone or preparing us for something bigger,
Nothing in life has any meaning except the meaning I give it. Tony Robbins. Right?
Yeah, right there. So
I look at it the same way, because there's a lot of things going on in the world. There's a lot of things going on in your own life. And it's really easy to get caught up on things and stop being grateful for the things that you do have, and then be focused only on the things that you don't have, or the things that aren't going right. Because for everything that's not going right in your life, I can guarantee you there's 10 things that are going right in your life. You're just not looking at them. They're not your focus, right? They're not what you're mainly looking at,
Well, that's the point. I guess that's the point, right? Is you, as a human being, as a person, you have no clue or idea or control over the trillions of things that are happening around the world at any given time, right?
Perspective.
You get to choose what you focus on. That's kind of I don't know if the secret of life, but that's one of the things that I realize, is that, the thing that I focus on is the thing that kind of makes me feel a certain way.
Yep.
But I get to choose ultimately, because really, man, it's just really, I don't know how deep I want to get into this, go deep. Okay. Well, it's just, what's the lifespan of a normal human being? 75 years, let's call it, right?
Yeah, that's fine. And that's on the high
So
end.
what's evolution, right? If you believe in evolution, we believe that the world's been around for how many years? 14 billion years or whatever. So it's 75 years in comparison to 14 billion years.
Yeah, well, let's say it's let's say the world's only been around for 2,000 years. And
Hey,
you only live
are you a
on
conspiracy theorist?
I'm just saying,
I know,
even
I'm
with
totally
ratios, if you
I
were to
know,
say that
yeah.
the world was only around for 2,000
Yeah.
years,
And we're not
you know,
scientists or whatever, theologians or whatever,
no,
but the point is like,
it's still the ratio, right? Like your life is so short.
yeah.
It's such a blip in the way the universe is and the way
Well,
that things have been.
and I catch myself thinking, right, about it. Like, think of all the momentum over 14 billion years of things happening, events, people, circumstance, just everything that has happened, the momentum to bring me to this point in life. And to think that I know enough about what's going on or have control over the momentum of life is just it's almost silly to think about. And as someone that's only going to be on this earth for just a fraction of billions of years, it's almost silly to worry about and not be grateful just to have the experience of seeing this life, of being part of it, because life continues with or without us. I know we know this, but
it's not pretty, but it is your life. It is
the reality is life isn't the problem. It's the way we look at life. And one of the ways that I found that has really helped me gain perspective on that is just to have gratitude for everything that happens in life, not just the good, not just the bad, but just an overall attitude of gratitude. Ooh,
yeah,
a little rhyme there for you.
Attitude of gratitude.
I'm sure someone's taken that.
One thing for me that I really like a lot is history too. History really helps me understand that, I'm not alone in this universe, and that my moment is not any different. Right? Like, for instance, like World War II. You can go into World War II. That's one thing that I've been actually watching a lot of documentaries on lately. And the crazy things that people had to go through during World War II, and like the Battle of Stalingrad and how many people died. They called it a meat grinder, and it was just death on death on death. And the explosions and the fires were so hot and so bad.
We promise we're motivating you with that.
Exactly. and I look at that kind of stuff, and then I look at my life and I go, and I'm getting depressed because I'm not progressing as fast as I want it to, or
or my car didn't start or whatever.
Yeah, or like my house isn't as updated as I want it to be, or my kids don't listen as well as I want them to listen, or we find little things to be frustrated about and get irritated about and say, well, this isn't going my way, so nothing's going my way. And then for me, it's like going back on history and learning about different civilizations, learning about other people, learning about other cultures. Like, it just helps me to understand and get a grasp that I am such a small piece in this big, ever-moving universe and world. And it seems dim and dark, right? Like, you're so small, and
no,
there's so many other moving things. At all. But for me, it makes me realize, like, how blessed I am to be born where I am.
And your problems don't really matter.
Yeah,
honestly.
And how blessed I am to be doing what I'm doing today, or to be experiencing the experiences that I am today, even the bad ones. Some of those bad experiences end up being really great experiences.
Well, yeah, that's like we were talking about earlier.
And for me, it's perspective. It comes down to, what is my perspective on life? And a lot of times I have a small perspective, and that's why I'm being down on myself. That's why I'm depressed, or I'm frustrated, or I don't have an attitude of gratitude. There you go.
There.
It all comes down to my perspective.
Pay me a royalty for that one.
And I'm going more in on myself rather than looking at the outward experiences and looking at the universe as a whole and saying, wow, these are all the amazing things going on around me. Here's all the amazing things I've been given. And I don't know, I just think it's super powerful to live that way.
Yeah, no, I agree. And really, it's the only way. Well, I hate to say it that way, but it's not the only way. But for me, it's the only way that makes sense rationally, is you don't really have control over the billions of years of evolution and momentum that has created the life, the moment you're in. The one thing that you can do is just enjoy it and be grateful for it. That's the only thing you can do, right? I mean, and so, obviously, as of this video, I don't know if you've noticed. I know we've kind of talked about it, but it's just been really, and this is kind of going to go into my story a little bit that I want to share about gratitude, but it's been really unsettling to see the kind of the mass layoffs that are happening across tech and across lots of different
We
industries.
actually just had one happen here in our
Yeah,
hometown.
just locally. Are they the biggest company here, Lindy? I don't know.
I would say they're
One of the biggest
companies.
They're
Here
yeah,
in Oregon.
iFit. I don't know if
Yeah.
we should mention. Well, it's in the news. It doesn't matter. But they laid off a bunch of people. And it's humbling. Because it really takes me back to 2009. And you guys have heard me talk about this before on the podcast, but it's just really interesting to be in this position again. Because back then, in 2009, I was trying to start a business. Now we're looking at this recession. Here we are trying to get Quadra out there. And so my heart goes out to people that are being laid off, because I know that fear. I know that shame. It's that the darkness that can come with that. It's one thing to get let go or laid off when, the economy's okay and there's more jobs out there, but it's a whole different ball game when you're getting laid off and the economy's taking a downturn. People aren't hiring. So
every time that this type of stuff happens, it makes me realize how much we put our eggs in one basket. Like we say, well, getting a degree or getting into a trade or doing this is what I need to be doing, and this will protect me. And for me, I look at it and saying the only asset that you actually have in your life that will that will give you the outcome of success that you want is your competence in yourself, is your ability to learn and your ability to grow, and understanding that what I know, my knowledge, it doesn't matter what happens, right? You could have an economic crisis happen, you could have a disaster happen, you could have a political coup happen in your country. The only thing that you can be confident in is what is my ability to solve problems, and what is my ability to learn and grow and become someone that has an asset. And that's my asset is my knowledge. My asset is who I am and what I'm able to accomplish. And it's it's hard to see layoffs happening and see all that stuff. But then I look back at it, and then it makes me realize how grateful I am for all the struggles that I've had in my life, because I've had times where I'm like, I don't have any work, like I'm struggling to pay my bills and all this stuff. And I look back at those times, and it makes me remember how much that made me grow, how much it made me go, you know what, I need to think outside the box. I need to do something different,
Yeah, that's, I'm glad you brought that up, assets, because that's something I wanted to talk about going into my story and I did a TikTok about this. So go follow our TikTok at Ecom Life Podcast, right? Yeah. Just look up Ecom Life Podcast on TikTok. But I heard someone talk about, someone asked, I can't remember who it was. I give you credit, but it was, with the downturn, with the economy the way it is, what is an asset that you can invest in? And he talked about investing in invisible assets. Those invisible assets are friendships, our customers, relationships with customers, with friends, family. It's a network of people that can help you and lift you when things go wrong, or sideways for you. And that's kind of a perfect kind of segue into my story. And so, I've told my story before, but in 2009, I lost my job and decided to start my own business. And, as any new venture, it's hard to get traction, especially during a recession where things were very difficult. And I found myself struggling to pay the bills. So I, got the pizza job and started delivering pizzas to make ends meet. Well, one of my, actually, he was a part of my church group, and he actually worked with me, at Pizza Hut as well, which is where I was delivering pizzas. And, I was completely broke, man. Imagine 3 kids. I could not pay my bills. Literally could not pay my bills. And it came time for my my car registration to be renewed. And for my Camry, the one I have to this day, actually just died. So I don't know how much longer I'm going to have it. But I couldn't. I didn't know how I was going to pay the bill on it, and I needed that car in order to obviously deliver pizzas, and then also, just have a car to go and try to drum up business for this business I was trying to start. And I don't kn- I was trying to think back because I knew we were going to do this podcast on gratitude. I was trying to think about the moment that I don't know how this guy found out. Like, I don't know how he found out. I may have mentioned it to him. I don't know. Maybe I was so desperate. I just asked him. I don't remember the exact circumstances of it, but I'll never forget, man. Like, I get chills just talking about it now. I remember going in his car and him driving me to the DMV. Like, I'm just really just chills just talking about this because it's so real to me. Like, I can't remember how he found out, but this part, just driving down with this guy. And listen, this guy wasn't rich. It's not like this guy was like money. He was delivering pizzas with me. Mike Rogers, you know who you are. You're amazing, dude. I'll never forget what you did for me that day. And I remember feeling obviously pretty ashamed. I'm like, man, I can't even pay for my car registration. Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty bad. But he never made me feel that way. The whole time down, he's just talking to me, and he's just like, I'm thinking of starting a website, and maybe you could just help me with that, because I was feeling bad that he was paying for me. So I was trying to say, hey, what can I do? I don't have money, but how can I help you? And so he was being nice. Say, hey, maybe you could build, because that was what I was trying to do, is helping with marketing for home builders. And so he drove me down there, man. He didn't just give me the money. He like actually drove down there, stood in line with me in the DMV, and then just paid the registration
That's awesome.
for my car, so that I could continue to work and stuff. And I'll just never forget that. It was just so powerful. It's one of those things that happens in your life. And this is what we're talking. Gratitude is, like we said, an attitude, a way, a perspective. But then there's those big moments in life where you're just so grateful. And that's where those invisible assets, I think, come in. That's an invisible asset. It's someone I had a friendship with that came through for me. And so, with the way the world is going, I think what you're saying is right on. Invest in yourself. Now is the time. If you're one of those people that have been laid off, this might be the time for you to rise up and do something great. Learn that skill that you've been putting off. Start that business. Start that business that you've been wanting to do. This could be a huge blessing for me. And as I look back, when I was in that situation, it was not. I didn't feel it was a huge blessing. I was completely miserable. But as I look back now, with the perspective that I have now, looking back, those are stepping stones for me. I learned a lot about business. I learned a lot about people. I learned a lot about not giving up, and those have all served me so well, with Quadra. And so anyway, big shout out to Mike Rogers and his family for doing that. Again, he was not a rich dude, but he stepped up, and that's where those invisible assets come into play. Do you have any stories that come to mind with you?
Yeah.
With gratitude?
So first I want to talk about, for me, I like to view life as like everything has a season, right? And so,
Yeah.
I mean, Tony Robbins says it this way. He says, if you had all summer, you'd burn out.
Mm-hmm.
If you had all winter, you'd freeze to death.
Mm-hmm.
So God
Mm-hmm.
created 4 seasons,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And for me, I believe in that fully, in not only in the way God created the earth, but also in the way that my life functions.
Mm-hmm.
And so when me and my wife first got married, we were in a Spanish congregation. Well, we served in a Spanish congregation
Mm-hmm.
as youth leaders, youth pastors.
Yeah.
And it was awesome, And I remember the first Christmas that we were there was a family in our ward that was
You might want
struggling.
to explain what a ward is.
The ward is a congregation. Sorry, I'm trying to make this more so everybody can see. But
No,
yeah,
you're good.
a ward is a congregation in the LDS Church, and so we were in a Spanish congregation, and a family in the congregation was really struggling, and the bishop of our ward, the pastor, right? He said, we talked to him, and he said, yeah, these guys could really use some help. And so we put together bags and presents and put them in a bag. And then me and my wife put on some like Santa hats, and we snuck up to their apartment and put them by the door, knocked on the door, ran out to our car, and we hid, and we were a young couple, and we were sitting there watching the kids run out, get so excited about their presents. Might start crying, but it was awesome for me to see how
Yeah.
how cool it was for those kids to get something that they weren't expecting,
Yeah.
you know. And crazy thing about that story is it was such a great time in my life,
Uh-huh.
just being young, married, no kids or anything.
Yeah.
Little did I know that 3 years later, someone would be
Mm.
doing the same thing to me and my kids
Wow.
because we were having a really hard Christmas. And
Yeah.
sorry,
No, you're
full of
good, man.
gratitude, but
That's you're doing great. Thanks for
yeah.
being so vulnerable.
So it was super awesome that day.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I can say I've never struggled
Uh-huh.
with people giving to me,
Yeah.
because I view life in seasons. And it was
Uh-huh.
for me in that moment when we opened up our door and there was a bag there, you know, I just thought
Mm-hmm.
about all those times that I'd done that for other people in the past, and then and then watching my kids get excited and realizing that I was going through a hard time and I needed help from somebody else.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're good, man.
Just made me realize how powerful life is,
Mm-hmm.
and how important it is to not just be stuck about yourself and be focused on how you can help other people, because what you give comes back to you in return, and everybody's life works in seasons.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. You can have a year that can be really good in your business.
Yeah.
It's just like all these layoffs that are going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these are billion-dollar companies, right? Big companies, small companies. And just a couple of years ago, they might have been doing really, really well. And now they're having to lay employees off because they can't provide for those employees. It doesn't mean that they're going to crash. They might be able to hire all those employees back within the next 2 years. But we have to remember that our lives come in seasons, and we'll have seasons of plenitude and we'll have seasons of famine. It's just going to happen. And so we have to take things for the way that they are and realize that that's just how life works.
Yeah.
If everything stayed the same forever, life would be pretty boring, you know, and no learning would take place. There would be no growth. There'd be no understanding. And so that's my story, and that's what's powerful to me.
Dude,
is that
that's awesome.
Life works that way.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Yeah.
So,
It's crazy how, like you were saying, how life is, there's seasons in life.
yeah.
And I think the one thing for me, at least, is realizing not to fight those seasons. Like it's fun. It's funny because it's so evident in nature, right? I'm seeing snow on our mountains right now. It's not like when winter comes along outside, I'm like, well, maybe sometimes, but I'm just like, oh no, it has to be summer. It has to be summer. Why isn't it not summer? It's not you know. And I feel like that resistance is what causes the suffering to what life is about, you know, because the truth is winter's needed so that spring can come and renew life, you know. And so it's the same thing in our lives. Is when those seasons come in our life, if we have that attitude of gratitude and understand and have that perspective that this is a part of the season of life, which I think was really powerful what you said, we won't suffer as much. It doesn't mean things won't be hard, or it may not even be comfortable, but suffering happens, what I believe, is when you resist reality, you know, what's happening. And so if it's winter, it doesn't, you can drive yourself crazy trying to tell yourself it's summer. But if you can just, you know, relax and understand that this is winter and do your best to get through it. And also the other thing too about winter is having the hope and knowing that there's going to be spring and summer. Nothing is permanent. That's the other thing, you know. Again, that's why I love living here. It's not like I go into winter going, okay, it's going to stay like this forever. I know that. Well, it depends here, right? But I know here in the month March, April, things are going to start to change. Yep. And it's the same thing with our lives, you know. We get caught up sometimes thinking that winter is forever in our lives. I'm going to be broke forever.
In our lives and our
I'm going to be, if you're trying to find a relationship, I'm going to be single forever, or, you know, I'm going to be this forever. Nothing lasts forever. Yep. And that's kind of the beauty. It's kind of the yin and yang of life, that nothing is forever, because it gives us hope, right? And so, yeah, it's pretty powerful.
I like to look at it this way too, is everybody, at least most people that I know, want to be on the giving side, right? Like, it feels great to give to somebody else, to feel like you have excess and that you have enough to give to others.
Yeah.
That's a great feeling. And I love that feeling. I love giving. Where we all struggle is when we have to be on the opposite end and we have to be the one receiving. Just like how you were talking about how on the way there, you were asking him, how can I help you? How can I help you? Right. And that's because it feels better to give than it does to receive. But we have to realize that that transaction is a two-way thing. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much you want to give. There might be times in your life where God or the universe, whatever you want to call it, is putting you in a position so that somebody else can get those blessings to give to you.
Yeah.
Because if everybody didn't need to give, then there'd be no giving, right?
Yeah.
If everybody didn't need, right? And so it's a two-way thing. And sometimes you're going to be in a position to give, and sometimes you're going to be in a position where you have to receive. And I think it's just as important to be willing to receive than it is just to give.
That's powerful. That's something I need to work on for sure. And so, let us know in the comments when's been a time in your life where you've felt that kind of gratitude, or there's someone that stepped up for you. If you want to tag them in the comments, do that. But we're so grateful to be a part of your journey. For those of you that check out our podcast, our content, we're so grateful for you. Thank you for supporting us.
Thank you. Yeah.
For spending time with us, and we hope that you'll have a wonderful Thanksgiving with your family, that you can take that time to really reflect on the things that are great in your life. And
I would say going into this Thanksgiving holiday, think about all the things that you're grateful for and be open to the gratitude, right? And even if you're going through a hard time, or your business might not be doing what you want it to be doing, or you might not have even started your business yet and you're just dragging your feet, or something's preventing you from doing so, find ways to be grateful and look at those ways of being grateful. And I can guarantee you that as soon as you open up the door of gratitude, whether you're giving or receiving, you're going to start seeing more direction in your life, and things are going to open up for you that you never thought can open up for you.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you, Brian. That was awesome. And follow us on all our socials. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, spread the word about the podcast, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
See ya.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, could you do me a huge favor and like this video? Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got tons of great content there. And if you want to connect with us on social media, check out the links in the description. And we look forward to seeing you there.